Hello and welcome to the tutorial of my hexadecimal carry cancel adder. If you want to see how it works, you can check out last week's video, which I will link in the description. But if you just want to see how it works and how you can build it, this is the video for you. So I'm just going to get started building it with step 0, which is the inputs. So you want to have two comparators that are 2 blocks apart in one dimension and 1 block apart in another one. Those are going to be your inputs from which all the delays are counted and everything. And to be able to input your numbers for this example, we can just put some rows with redstone dust on top right here and leave us on the side, which I will place in a moment, so that you can input any hexadecimal number that you want to. This is not terribly exciting, which is why I don't really have to say much about this. But then we can just get right to the next step, which is step number 1, the first half of the addition. We want to put one more comparator here to synchronize all the timings, and then go up for both of these into redstone dust. Here we're gonna have a comparator on subtract mode with a redstone block behind it, going into another block with another comparator in subtract mode, going into another block. This will subtract both inputs from a full signal strength of 15, so we have 15 minus input 1 minus input 2. We will then get this signal through a comparator like this, going into redstone dust down here, and subtract that from a full signal strength of 15, which we get from this torch, and into this piece of redstone dust down here. So here we have A plus B, simply as that. Like A and B are our two inputs, but if any of the inputs are in such a way that we get an output that would be greater than 15, we will just get an output of 15 right here because of the way this is made. To fix this, we will go to the next step, where we are just going to take our inputs down here again into redstone dust, and on this side we do the same exact thing as on the top. We subtract 15 minus one of the inputs, but here we're gonna take a comparator this way around on subtract mode and let the other input go into it, so that we can go around like this into a piece of redstone dust. When this redstone dust gets powered, it depowers this redstone torch, disabling any output from up here. So what this is, we have 15 minus one of the inputs and subtract that from the other input. So we have input 1 minus 15 minus input 2, which is the same as input 1 plus input 2 minus 15. So as soon as that outputs something, we disable this output right here. And we also take this output like this into two comparators and into this output to combine the outputs. And we also put a comparator here, put this on subtract mode, and get ourselves a cauldron right here with water inside that only outputs one signal strength. So we output one signal strength here, subtract that from this, so we have A plus B minus 16, which is, we get a carry out to the next one, but still have a remainder or whatever that is called, and that goes on in the process of the addition. The next step is the carry logic, so we will just put a carry in down here, which will then go into this repeater down here, and we're gonna adjust the delay so everything is nice and synchronized. which we then bring into this redstone dust down here, and this comparator. This comparator will be the validated carry in all the other adders. Here it's just the carry in. But we also want to take this signal up like this and into our carry tower right here to have our next carry, which will now just be the carry out of the first adder. This comparator wants to be in subtract mode, and we also take redstone dust output from this top adder right here into a repeater, into redstone dust down here, which goes around like this and up like this into this comparator. This is our cancel signal, which prevents the carry in from just activating all the carries. And now our generate will come from the lower adder with a redstone torch down here and another redstone torch right here. This is our carry logic done. As the next step, we want to add 1 to this output if we have a carry. To do that, we are going to invert the signal again by going through a repeater through a comparator in subtract mode, which gets a full signal from here, and we power it, let me see, just like that, using redstone dust here, a repeater, and a redstone block like this. So this will always have a signal strength of 15 minus our output right here. Then we take another comparator, I think. I'm super prepared, as you can see. And go into another comparator right here, which is on subtract mode, which goes into redstone dust right here, with another comparator which is on a red wool block to indicate that this is our final output. So we want to subtract 1 from this inverted signal, which we're going to do using a dropper with 1 item inside. And we also want to power this dropper like this and give it its item back, of course. Just like that, so that it never gets powered again by anything. But we don't always want to add 1 to our output, so we're going to take another signal right here with a comparator right here on subtract mode, which also has redstone dust right here. Then we go to this and put a repeater like this to disable the lower comparator if we have a carry. And we also take a repeater like this, which goes into a redstone torch right here, and a piece of redstone dust, which goes into this comparator. So this right here is our final output. Next we have to add 1 more circuit in here to make it work for all possible cases, which just takes this output using a comparator into a redstone dust right here, going into another comparator, but we only want this comparator to be active if we have a signal strength of 15. So we're just gonna put a cauldron right here which is empty. Then we want to take this to a redstone dust right here, going into a comparator on subtract mode with a full signal strength of 15 right here, going into a block which also powers this redstone down here. Now this really should work for all cases, and we can also take our carry out from here. This is the first hexadecimal adder completely done. We can also add our output indicators using lamps right here, just like this. So now you can test this to see if everything works. And next we're going to stack this. You can obviously stack the adder by hand, but that is kind of slow, and so you can also use world edit, but I don't have world edit right here, so I'm just going to do it using normal Minecraft commands. That is not as nice as world edit, but it should also work. So to do that, I want to copy all the blocks that are in the lowest layer down here into the top layer. So we have those. This is already there. Then we have one block here and also a block here and 2 blocks there. Another block here. Those 3 blocks are not needed for the other layers, so I think this should be it. If there are some small mistakes, we can fix that later. So now you want to look at the coordinates and look which directions are negative. So this is the negative corner in all dimensions. So I'm just going to take this block and the most positive one, which is right here, like this. But I actually don't want to include the lowest one, so from here we're just going to use clone on this corner and this corner and clone it 4 blocks up, like this. This looks okay. Anything that's broken we can fix later on. So now we just clone this right here. I don't know what that is gonna be, so just like this. 4 blocks up again. Like this. Now we have the whole adder, and we only need to fix mostly this carry right here. So yeah, any redstone that comes to this side is already not needed. Also, we want to have slabs everywhere to be able to have the carry go all the way up. We don't need this right there. Also, all these blocks we added aren't needed anymore. This one is. So now we can see a little better. You just wanna replace all this with half slabs. Just like so. And so. Maybe it would have been better to do this before the world edit stuff. Okay, it was just a command, no world edit, but you get the point. And we also want to have this like so, going up all the way. Just like so. Okay, we're gonna worry about the top part later. Also, all these comparators should be in subtract mode. So this carry seems to work now. Yep. And this one also. I'm just gonna look around real quick to see if anything else is broken, and then we'll get to the carry out at the top. Okay, it looks like the only problem we have is that those droppers lost their items, but we can fix that easily by just putting items in there, just like this. So now that should be working again. So for the top, we want to have another slab right here, like so. We don't need this block. And then we can actually also get rid of this right here. Put a repeater right here. Put comparators like this. A comparator on subtract mode like this. If we did this like the other layers, we would run out of signal strength from the carry in. So that is why we have to do it like this. Then we can just go into a redstone dust. A torch like this, going into redstone, which should at least be 14. Subtract that from a signal strength of 15. And we have our carry out at the top. Now the whole adder should be done and we can test it real quick. Okay, let's test it. We can, for example, input a full biggest number FFFF into one input and test if the carry in works. Yes, it carries through all the hexadecimal digits. Can't say bits. Let's try one down there. That does exactly the same. That's looking good. Let's try the maximum input. Signal strength of 15 everywhere. That gives the maximum output. That's looking good. So it looks like everything is working. Let's just disable everything real quick. And that is your hexadecimal carry cancel adder done. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. For example, one trick that not many people might know is this one I used right here. So if you have a comparator with redstone dust somewhere, for example, and an empty cauldron behind it, then if you have an input, the comparator will read this cauldron, see that it is empty and not output anything, ignoring the redstone dust on top. But if you have a signal strength of 15, then this 15 will override the comparator and it will output 15 as well. So this is a way of only getting a signal strength of 15 and nothing else. You can achieve the same thing by having a comparator in compare mode and putting, for example, a redstone block next to it. That way a signal strength of 14 will not go through, but a signal strength of 15 will go through. It just happened to be slightly easier to do it like this right here. This is why I used this neat little trick. Yeah, but that's it about this carry cancel adder. See you all in another video. Bye!